Well, hello again. It is Sarah Jane from Access Your True Nature, and I've decided to do more vlogging um, because some of you know I like to read and I like to write long. And I have been getting feedback that you're enjoying more of the verbal or the video type vlogs and nuggets of body mind medicine. And what I want to speak to today with this full moon in Capricorn that we've just had, and this whole place around surrendering and revisiting the parts of the wounds that we haven't yet healed, to really look at this place of us that needs to die. If you haven't listened to the video on the Death Mother, I suggest that you do that, and I will link this to the dose of fierce medicine that I delivered yesterday, again, prompted by some of my very brave clients that are really doing the work, and yet finding that the work isn't easy. It's hard, it hurts, and it's uncomfortable. But only way to heal and transmute and transform our lives is to kill the old cancers and the old distortions on reality, and the illusion too of who we think we need to be, to just let it die. Because we're really discovering that all of these lies live within us, the programming, the entities, the impaction of it all, that it can be very hard for us to realize sometimes that we have got entity attachments, that we are in very deep entanglements that include ancestral and intergenerational trauma. And it's tough work. So the only way is through. We have to be willing to feel in order to heal. And almost everything that I know up until this point, again, is turning out to be a lie, a deception, and it can leave us in a state of bewilderment. And a lot of people that are coming to see me are coming and are speaking to these places that have been unspoken of before, around ETs and life forces and programming and the way that we're being bombarded with EMFs. And I read somewhere that they said that I think in the next 20 years, it was Klinghardt, who does a lot of work on trauma, saying that the next generation of children, not just in America, he was talking about America, but I believe worldwide, are going to be on that high autism spectrum. Why? Because they cannot function with these new vibrational frequencies. Their brains are processing data so quickly, and yet they're held in place with these old fragmented parts of a very patriarchal society. So, I can't believe that I've contributed to a lot of these things without realizing it. And for that, I am so sorry. I've been doing a lot of Ho'oponopono work this year. And I can't believe that a lot of the things that have been going on, I was unaware of. I can't actually believe that I've contributed to a lot of violence in a myriad of very little ways. Or small ways of actually feeding the separation sickness, when my best intention was to change that through trauma hacking and nervous system healing. So, the world is dying. We just have to look around to see that. And the thing is that it is so against our nature to want the things that we love and care about, to let them die. But the old ways need to die. It has to, and we have to trust that we can't fight it, and we can't keep clinging on to the past, and we certainly can't keep trying to prove that that it's wrong or that it's right either. Most of the systems upon which we rest are broken and being built on rape and pillage and misabuse of power. That's the biggest one. And we have to let the whole damn thing fucking fall apart. I'm sorry, but I'm just almost tired of my own voice that wants to hold on to it, that doesn't want to dismantle some of these lies. And we have to be resilient. We have to be so aware and present to be witness to a lot of these lies of deceit as they sort of come breaking down and fall into the ashes, and also know that there's a part of us that's very afraid, that's wondering, am I going to make it? Am I going to get through this, to live another day, to contribute to the new world? And I think that's where I feel really heartbroken. So many of the mentors and the visionary leaders that I get to speak to every day, and my clients being part of that, because we each bring our own part. There's so much heartbreak at the moment, and I think that's the whole point that I've been called to, is that we have to let our hearts break. We have to break up all the armor that we have been encapsulated in, and really look at a new way of doing things. How do we deal with all these atrocities and horrible things that are happening? I can't sometimes look at Facebook feed because it breaks my heart to see the insanity that's going on, especially with animals. The people burning dogs and skinning dogs alive, the crazy shit that Trump is doing. Just how far up the disease, the cancer of the greed in Africa, and where it's being tracked back to, that are actually killing the rhinos, the sentients, the elephants of the planet. And, sometimes I'm just asking these questions of, what do I need to be in order to change this? And some days it's not enough. Sometimes I don't know the answer, and I'm just as bewildered and angry that I was lied to, and that all of this has happened right in front of me. And I'm just sort of blindly wandering along in my life. And I suppose I'm actually more angry at myself for actually believing the lies and trying to make them true for so many years. I feel very unqualified to answer some of these questions, let alone lead myself into a new way of being. But I do remember that we don't need to know everything in order to lead. We just need to be willing to see. And just like the lead mayor who leads from behind at times, this is nonverbal. It's felt sense. And there's so many questions that have risen within me for the last several years, and I haven't been able to find anyone to answer them for me. I've searched, believe me. I have thrown money at all sorts of things, and I've also, come to the wide, rude shock of that there's a lot of superfluous crap out there that's designed to sound intelligent and informative, and it's actually so manipulative. It's designed to sound like something it isn't. And I learned the hard way, especially with my encounter with the cults of access consciousness. Sometimes I wonder, why did I have to choose that in order to see the truth, or to see the lies and the deception that are actually holding the very fabric of our humanity in place? And also to look at, other spiritual leaders and experts and strategists that I used to revere, and found many of them very ill-equipped to handle my own inquiry of how to navigate in the new world. Matt Kahn, who I knew long before he was a sensational spiritual lover out in the airways, I was really interested to see that he was married. I was like, yeah, he's found somebody. And then the other day I see that he has absolved that marriage, and him and his partner have moved in their own journey apart. And I was like, wow, not everything is the way that it seems. And I found so much crap in my old personal development, and even some of the programs and processes that I created 6 months ago aren't working anymore. And how much of the old tenets about life that used to nourish and fill me up, it's not doing it for me anymore. It's not feeding me at all, because so many things that work just don't work anymore, because actually they never worked. And I'm not here to make friends, but I've turned down a lot of summits because I don't sell packages. I cannot sell my soul to the devil of hypocrisy to say, oh, just run this program and your life's going to be fine. You have to do the work. And if that means that I don't get to be on the top podcasts of the world or speak with people, because I don't conform or manipulate in order to sell packages, I don't really care. I don't care. I don't care then, and I don't care even more now. But we have to look at what is leadership. Do we continue to turn a blind eye and try to fit into these old molds and lies? No. We have to, a voice inside of me the last couple of days has been really saying, you have to step up. You have to find the courage to step up. And especially because we don't have answers to a new earth that we haven't lived yet. It's this way at the age of expansion where we have to stretch our edges. And I'm seeing this more and more, not just with myself, but with my clients, that we're expanding into our next level of evolution in our own growth as the leaders of our own life, as the own authority, regardless of who comes, that we have to do the work. You can't turn away anymore. And we're always going to get to a point where there is no road to where we're being pulled. There's a threshold and we think we've stepped over it, and then something else comes up. But we have to find our way out of the darkness and into fully trusting ourselves. And I downloaded a whole new acronym for trust, which I'm going to be sharing in the next couple of days and weeks, or however it unfolds. But I keep getting this energy of transgeminal. I don't even know what that word means yet, but it feels like it is so aligned. And I think that what matters more is how we're showing up, and whether we possess the tools to fully know ourselves or understand it as we were in our true nature before we were indoctrinated with all of this bullshit is what's required. But we have to know ourselves beyond the illusion, so that we can show up and be the leaders of our own life and create our own liberation rather than causing more harm. And, I've screwed up. I probably will a million times more. But I'm not willing to minimize what is mine and mine alone to support others on their journey, because I don't fit into the norms and social norms and realities of how things should be, or what it takes to sell a package, or how I have to market and how I have to modify my voice. I think leadership is in the new world that is being born from the ashes of crashing systems and physical fires and the moon as well, reminding us that the water is a purifier, that the water is how we have to flow, and our waters are polluted. So, we're going to see more contrast in areas that are drought stricken, like Cape Town, and a lot of Africa, because of what's been going on in the north. The floods are going to come, and we need to know that we have our own life raft if we're going to survive this. So, do we possess the ability to discern between what is true in our soul, which is good and comes from love, versus what our ego is telling us? Because our ego is the part of us that is infested with all the parasitic embolisms of cancers and viruses and microbiomes that are plaguing the planet and exacerbating the destruction of not just humanity, but of Mother Earth and the sentience herself. And we need to dismantle them right now. And it's coming, whether we're ready or not. So I hate to be the bringer of gloom, but we have to model leadership that is not reactive and uncaring and unkind, and stop fooling ourselves into believing that it's just spiritual to not be involved or get dirty. We've got to roll up our sleeves here and do our own work. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be brutal. But the beauty lies on the other side of that. If we allow all this crap that's rising to the surface to rise so that we can change it. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. So, are we making ego-driven decisions that are based on subconscious fears and overprotection of the identity to the self, to the I am? Or are we going to make decisions that come from the big soul, that not only we benefit, but others benefit too? I just some days I'm just like, I want off this insane asylum we're all committed to and nobody knows it. When I see, so many people obsessing, we're just lost our ways, obsessing about money and screwing over, just the level of dishonesty and disharmony and lack of integrity that's coming out of the standard business world. that we're forgetting about the meaning. And, you know, there's so many, we're so easily distracted into, you know, the Instagram feeds and how cute my meme is, and, you know, this sort of love and light minimalist. We're getting so lost in it, and we need to stop so that we can actually deep dive and notice that quiet, wise voice of our inner wild woman that is screaming to be heard. And there go the alarms. It's been happening more and more in my neighborhood right now. And, you know, just side note, there's been like almost like this blackout of electromagnetic frequencies that allow me to stay connected to the internet or onto my cell phone. And I'm as much as it's irritating because I can't do the work in my own self-importance, you know, it's another sign that we have to unhook from all of this manufactured AI. You know, we can't keep showing up in communities with no boundaries. You know, our leadership is creating legions of codependency, and we're re-traumatizing each other. And I hate that. You know, so many people going, don't be my guru, be your own guru. The substrate of that is follow me because you don't have what it takes yet. And it's so self-harming and it's so self-abusive, where people are not trusting themselves because they're following somebody who they think has got it all together. And I think the suicides of Anthony Bourdain and the handbag lady and the queen, I can't remember their names right now, are really showing us to, you know, nothing is what it looks like it is. Nothing shows up the way that we think, and nothing is what we think it is. Okay, the mind is very clever at manipulating to the negativity bias on that. And we have to start modeling healthy boundaries to ourselves first before we can show up in community and do that. And look within. You know, are our boundaries encouraging others to trust in their unique expression within themselves, or are they actually manipulating them into throwing money at you, which is the currency that we all need, apparently, to survive in this reality? So, you know, let's stop burning, stop glorifying a burnt out culture that where there's no love anymore. Just look at the lack of self-care that we're imprinting on ourselves every single day. Where are we not asking for feedback or admitting when we're wrong and saying, I'm sorry? Can we just model humble, grounded leadership? Because I'm so tired of the fake arsery out there. The false prophets are booming right now. And you can see that in a multi-billion-dollar self-help industry. You know, some days I'm like, I'm out of here. I don't want to be associated with that. But I know that I need to do my work in a different way. And I'm going to screw up. You know, I'm not saying I have all the answers. But if we're going to dismantle these old systems, we need to find our own center in the chaos. And we need to look at where we've defined stress that isn't stress as something else, and see that as the growth that we require. And I'm so grateful because my community, you, are part of my own growth. You know, we have to look at this need to please or this need for validation and actually go back into what makes me sovereign to myself. Where did I lose my own internal authority, my own internal GPS? Where did I go so off compass? Because that's feeding the separation sickness, the fear, the lack, the scarcity, the destruction on the planet. And we need to let go of the illusion of what that is. So, you know, there's a lot of questions that I've been asking myself, and I'd love to know if you relate to some of this, to feeling the heartache, to feel how broken I am in the brokenness of a world falling apart, because we're all connected to everything. And the end of the day, it comes back to the power of choice. There is only one thing that you can control, and that is how you are showing up in the world. That's it. What am I contributing to? What am I lending my voice to? What am I refusing to allow that, if I would change things for me? So I invite you over the weekend to just push pause on the world and take some time as I am, to really dig inside of yourself. Look at all the, what are you feeding, and that includes personal, your physical body. If you got parasites or bacterias or viruses that are lying asleep, waiting to be woken up or triggered by something on the outside, what do you need to do in order to kill that thing? Cut off the head of the entities and the demonic energies and the parasitic embolisms and the viruses and the cancers that we're part of. I really, some days think, oh my gosh, I am intrinsically part of the cancer that's killing the planet because I am human in my being. There's nothing more dangerous to the darkness than a wild woman who is willing to take a good hard look at herself in the mirror. Stop looking for yourself, right? Stop looking at yourself. Know who you are. You knew who you were before you came into this world in a body. Excavate, dig deep, look at the parts that you're denying or shaming or pretending don't even exist. Go there, spend some time there, and wield your sword, claim your stake in the ground, reconnect with your soul, and fight for the light with your eyes wide open. Read some old books, I love Women Who Run with Wolves. I've revisited that because it resonates with me as much as it does for me to slow down and be the woman who walks with the lion heart and be eternally humble for my four-legged teachers and my spirit guides who always hit me in the ass when I lose my way in the light. And I want only the best for you. So nourish your soul this weekend. Spend some quiet time going deep down. And if you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling like you don't even know where to start, reach out and touch somebody who's right there. Hold their hand. Be that for somebody else to say, you know what, I don't know, but I'm going anyway. Because that's how we're going to grow. And that's it for this, whatever this is. My reaching out to touch you, because I can't do this on my own. And I really, really appreciate you being on this journey with me. So let's transform those lower vibrational energies. Let's raise up our swords of light and say no more. Because the cliche is the buck does stop with us. And we're all playing a very important part in this. So be strong. Go on the uncharted turf. Because your soul knows the way home. And the way home is to allow yourself to break into a million tiny little pieces and get out of the way and let life have at you. All right? I've got you. I see you. I honor you. And I love you with all my heart. Bye.